Do you want to stay more focused on the right goals in your life, or even just figure out what the right goals are for you? Do you want clarity? Do you want better work-life balance? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Success Through Failure.
Welcome to the Success Through Failure podcast, the show that reveals failure as your path to success. You'll listen to intriguing interviews with some of the most successful people on the planet and learn how their failures became a launchpad for success and how yours can too. Here's your host, former Division I All-American wrestler, former Division I head coach, speaker, and personal coach, Jim Harshaw.
Welcome to another episode of Success Through Failure. This is your host, Jim Harshaw, and I'm going to hit you with another solo episode today. As a matter of fact, I've been getting a lot of people asking me about these solo episodes, telling me you love these solo episodes. So thank you for that, and it's just inspires me to create more of these. And I'm writing a note to myself right now as I record this podcast that I'm going to have a page where I'm going to list all of my solo episodes. So if you go to jimharshawjr.com/solo, that's SOLO, then I'll have a list of all my solo podcasts, because there's been a ton of them. And I'll actually have all of the solo podcast episode numbers listed in the action plan for this episode. So I'm going to give you another link. Are you ready? If you just remember this one, that'll help you. I just go to jimharshawjr.com/action, and you'll get the action plan from this episode. And it will have in this episode, you'll have a link to all the other episodes that are my solo episodes, and I talk about all kinds of cool stuff about cognitive conversions and goal setting, and environment of excellence, and relationships, and I even share my faith in one of them. And so just I'll have all the action plans or all the episodes there that I did that are solo episodes. I don't know, maybe 10 or something like that, maybe a dozen, maybe probably more than that actually by now. So I have all those linked there. And I was I'm actually in Atlanta right now. I'm in Atlanta and in a hotel room. And on my flight down here, I just can't get myself to watch movies and kind of kill time on flights, which I know a lot of people do. And that's awesome. That's great. That's really a time for people to sort of decompress and disconnect. And I just can't do that. I just love to be productive, and I love to use my time wisely. And I don't need that decompression time because I get it in different ways, through working out or through downtime with my kids. And I just feel like, why not use that time to be productive? So a lot of times I'll read, or I'll use that time for thinking and visualizing. So I did some of that today. I was doing some visualizing. I was thinking, and it hit me. This episode, the topic for this episode, it hit me because I was thinking about goals, and I just revised my goals. I go through my goals once a month. That's part of the Reveal Your Path system, is to look at your goals each month, comb through them, update them, edit them, change deadlines, update action items, update different things, update your micro goals. So those of you who are Pathfinders who have gone through Reveal Your Path, what micro goals are. And I think I may have talked about them actually in my goal setting episode. Again, just that'll be in the action plan, the link to that. But I update all this stuff, right? And I was thinking the other day about my self goals. So I talk about goal setting in 4 different areas of your life. Number 1, relationships. Number 2, self. Number 3, health. And number 4 is wealth. So relationships, self, health, and wealth, in that order of importance actually as well. And when I was updating my self goals the other day, I was kind of thinking about this and really put some thought into my updated self goal, because I had kind of crossed off my last one in creating a new one. And this is the missing goal for most people. Everybody wants to set goals around health, right? Lose X amount of pounds, or run a marathon by such and such date. Or like one of my clients, it was like deadlift 400 pounds, right? So whatever your goal is, people like to set those health goals, or they like to set wealth goals or career, professional goals. That's awesome too. Making a certain amount of money, or getting a certain promotion, or achieving some sort of achievement at work. And that's awesome too. And then the other one is relationships. So relationships, health, and wealth are sort of the three areas where everybody likes to set goals, right? And it's a little bit trickier on the relationship side. I always help people set process goals for relationships because it's hard to say, I want my relationship to be 10% better in 6 months or whatever. So you set process goals. What are the things that are going to help me have a better relationship? It's, date nights and planning to do certain nice things for your spouse or your significant other, etc. But the one that's missing is self. And when I talk about self goals, there are sort of three subcategories under your self goals, and these are the three subcategories. Number one, growth. Number two is impact. Number three is fun. So growth, impact, and fun. And that's what we're going to talk about here for the rest of the episode. Those three goals, how to go about figuring out what the right goals are in those areas and why these are actually even important. And, we're at the end of the year as you're listening to this, as I'm publishing this I should say, it's approaching 2019. And it's time to start thinking about, what kind of goals you want to set for 2019. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do an episode on how to do a year in review. So how you can look back on your year, sort of the process, the how-tos, what information do I need to sit down and read through and look through, and what is the process step by step for doing a year in review, and how do I kind of review my year and then set up my goals and my plan for next year. So that's going to be in the next episode. So whenever you listen to this, if you're listening to this, at least a week after I publish this, you'll have access to that year in review episode. So I definitely recommend that. That'll be the next episode after this. But if you want to get some of my time and actually do a year in review, I do these free clarity calls. So you can just grab a time on my calendar. Just go to jimharshawjr.com/apply, and that is the way you can apply for just a 30-minute coaching call from me. It's a clarity call. I offer these for free. I'll be honest, this is it's something that I love to do. It's also a way for you to kind of kick the tires and get to know me a little bit and kind of meet me, sort of one-on-one. And it's also a way for me to get to know you, because this is the way a lot of my clients come to me, is through these free calls. And I don't work with everybody. I'm pretty selective in who I say yes to. So it's kind of works both ways. So anyway, it's not a sales call, by the way. It's pure value. So anyway, this is something I can help you with, or that year in review. But let's talk about how you can figure out what that missing goal is, how you can figure out that self goal, and what is the right way to go about this for you. So again, GIF is the way I remember it: growth, impact, and fun. So what are they? So growth is the first one, and growth just means personal growth. Like maybe that's learning a new skill, or taking a course, right? Gaining new knowledge. And that can be, a certain book that you read. That can be an online course that you take. And one thing that I'm a proponent of is creating your own free course. There's so much great content out there on the internet, right? On YouTube and just anywhere you search on the internet and podcasts. If you say, okay, I want to learn more about, I don't know, pick a topic, computer science, or how to start a restaurant, you can create your own course on that for free. So go and find 3 videos, read 2 books, and listen to 10 podcast episodes, right? And you can create your own course. So that would help you on the growth side. So everybody wants to be growing. Like everybody, when we're not growing, we feel stagnant. So growth is absolutely important for you to feel like you're living a fulfilled life, and to be maximizing your potential. So growth is the first one. The second one is impact. Impact, that means volunteering. That means philanthropy. What is the impact that I want to make on the world? And volunteering can be, volunteering is something that we think that we're really giving something away, we're really helping, but in the end, it comes back to us, right? We feel good because we volunteer, or we feel good because we give money to an organization that's close to our heart. So it certainly is altruistic in some ways, but it's also self-serving. So impact. What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? And the third one is fun. Fun is, just things that you love to do. For me, it's outdoor adventure stuff, right? So one of my goals actually this year that I achieved a few months back was going camping, going camping by myself. And it's something I used to love to do, just go out in the wilderness and be alone and set up my tent and my hammock and have my fishing rod and my kayak and just getting out by myself, getting alone in the woods. And man, it's just even thinking about it right now, man, I'm just like pulled to do that. And I hadn't done it for years. It's hard. I got 4 kids and work and a business and just life's busy, right? And I kept saying no to that so I could say yes to other things. And that's fine to a point, but you have to make sure you're living in balance and you're doing things that fill yourself. And that was one of the things that I really wanted to do. So anyway, set that goal, and that was actually my Father's Day gift. So I took a night by myself and just went out in the woods. So that was my fun goal. So what is it that you love to do that you just don't get enough time to do, right? Whatever that is, right? Set that as a goal. It can be one sort of big event like I did, or it can be something that you do weekly, right? Maybe it's getting together with friends or, any activity, bowling or whatever, right? Whatever that is that's fun for you should be part of your goals. So growth, impact, and fun. And the way I coach people to set goals, because they, depending on the research you read, the right number of goals to have is somewhere between 4 and 8. Right? I've heard as low as 4. I've heard as high as like 7 or 8. And again, it depends on the research that you read. But I encourage people to have goals in relationships, self, health, and wealth. Right? So there's 4 categories. You should have at least one in each of those 4 categories. So when you get to self, pick growth, impact, or fun. Right? You can pick 1 or 2 of those: growth, impact, or fun, and figure out what it is that are the right goals for you. And these should be based off of your core values, right? So that's kind of the preliminary work that you have to do. And if you haven't done that, I encourage you to do that. But you can kind of think through this and get sort of a high level view of what I'm talking about, even without doing that work and figuring out what those goals are for you: growth, impact, and fun. And that's in the self category. When you set these kind of goals, it helps you say yes to the right things and say no to the things that aren't right for you. Now, I talk to so many people who feel out of balance, like they're saying yes to too many things. They're being pulled in a million different directions. Like, I know that a lot of you, not all of you, but I know that a lot of you listening were athletes at some level, at some point in your life. And if you weren't, you at least relate or understand the athlete's mindset. And athletes, especially elite athletes, high performing athletes, and I put myself in that category to some extent a long time ago when I was competing, and was an All-American wrestler at the University of Virginia, Olympic hopeful, competed overseas, etc. And I had a single-minded focus. Well, that doesn't work anymore. That doesn't work in the real world, having a single-minded focus. You have to balance these different things. And now let me put this little asterisk, this little fine print here. There's people who say it's not about balance these days. It's about work-life integration. It's not about work-life integration. It's about counterbalance. It's whatever you call it, because we're talking about the same things here. We're talking about living your life intentionally, right? Some people talk about, I remember one guy talking about work-life integration. He said, well, it's not about balance because you can't live everyday balance, because sometimes you have like big projects that are going to really suck you in for a day or a week or a month at a time. And then you counterbalance that, or you have, you integrate your work and your life in amongst that, and you might be out of balance for a week, and then the next week you spend a lot of time with your family to kind of counterbalance that or integrate your family. It's like, well, it's the same thing, right? We're talking about balance. You're talking about it in a different way. But what we're talking about really at the end of the day is making sure you have focus in each one of these areas. And if you're missing a focus around yourself, around you, not just other people, but yourself, then you're going to feel out of balance. You're going to feel like you're living for other people constantly, or living for the next health goal or the next wealth goal or the next relationship goal. And those are all good things. But what about you? What about you? when you take care of yourself, you can be the best version of yourself for other people and for some of these other goals that you're aspiring to. And I'll give you an example. Just recently, I was asked to do color commentary for the ESPN for the ACC network, for wrestling matches for the ACC network. And I'd done that before years ago. And it's pretty cool. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. Obviously, I know the sport, and it would be easy for me to do. It would be fun for me to do. But I said no this time around because, if I say yes to that, I'm saying no to other things. I'm saying no to, taking my kids to matches, sitting with my family, sitting with my friends, the commitment of the time that I have to put into preparing, to reading the bios and kind of updating myself on the wrestlers on the mat, et cetera, kind of doing all that preliminary homework that helps you do a job well done. That would be, if I say yes to that, I'm saying no to something else. I might be saying no to working out. I might be saying no to my family. I might be saying no to my business or my work, et cetera. So that's something where I had to say no to that, even though that would be fun. That would be a fun goal for me. So I've got other fun goals that are higher priority. So hope that helps. Again, if you want to get the action item or the action plan from this, go to jimharshawjr.com/action. If you want to jump on a phone call with me, then just go to jimharshawjr.com/apply. If this podcast has been helpful, or any of the other episodes that I've done have been helpful, I ask you that you please share it. Could you share this with one other person? Just shoot them a text right now and say, hey, check out the latest episode of Success Through Failure. Or find a specific episode. If there's a specific episode number that you really like, tell them to check it out. Just shoot them a link to it. Or you can, if you want to share it on social media, that's awesome too. Just go to jimharshawjr.com/share. That's jimharshawjr.com/share. You can share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. It's actually already a pre-written post. You can just click it. It opens up that social media platform, and you can edit it if you want, or you can just click submit. Make sure to tag me. If you tag me, for example, on Twitter, I'll retweet you, and I appreciate any help you can do in just spreading this, because podcasts spread by word of mouth, so your help is very much appreciated. So that's all for now. I look forward to talking to you in the next episode about doing your year in review. Until next time, take the time to get clear on your goals and embrace failure as a stepping stone on your path to success.